Shabbat Shalom, family. Glory and honor to our Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is. And to Messiah, Yahweh Shah, the only begotten Son of the Father, the prophet, priest, and king, the one who is the atonement for our sin. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to Messiah, Yahweh Shah. Greetings to the 12 tribes scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Greetings to the 144,000 that are now on the earth being prepared for those that will give the loud cry message, the introduction message, the forerunner message of the return of Messiah, which is, as we calculate, within the next 8 years. Greetings to those who are the fruits of the Messiah's work of righteousness and the Father's work through the Messiah of righteousness. That is, the children of Shem, Ham, and Japheth that are not the bloodline, but have taken upon themselves the faith of righteousness of Father Yah through Messiah Hawashai, and have learned it from his redeemed people, the true Israelite people. Greetings to the chat, Brother Stephen Kelly, Brother Leviska 23, Diamond Holdings, Brother and Sister Daniels, Superstar, Lion of Judah, Sister Kimberlite, good to see you again. Diamond Holdings again, Brother Gary Joseph, Hebrews Wanda, Sister Wade Castro. My apologies for being late today. My neighbor came over and my neighbor needed me. And I was here helping her for a while. But, man, when I see my neighbor, it reminds me, I was looking at Psalms 90. And, I'm looking at Psalms 90. Psalms 90 was actually written by Moses. I think it's the only Psalms of the 150 Psalms that we have in the King James Bible that was written by Moses. But I'm thinking of this. And then my neighbor came. But anyway, let me read this and you'll understand better why I'm mumbling here. This is Psalms 90. And I'm going to begin at verse 9 and read from verse 9 down to verse 12. Psalms 90 from verse 9 to 12. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow. For it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. When I first came here to Florida, my father, who rest in peace, just passed away, as you all are aware. When I first came here, it was 2022. My father was 81, going to 82 that year. I was 61. And what I realized when I came here to this place that I live, some of you have been to my house. When I came here, this whole neighborhood is now 20 years old. My father built, I think, one of the first houses definitely on his block. And all of his neighbors came in at the same time he did, pretty much within the plus or minus 1 or 2 years. And they were all 61 in their early 60s, late 50s, early 60s. And so a lot of the neighbors that are around me, they came here at the time my father came here. So when they see me, they see him 20 years ago. And then I realized, we never know when we die, but pretty much we're going to live the life of our parents. And so I know and I've learned from Psalms like this, don't worry about death. Like, it's going to happen. Don't worry about it unless the Most High comes. And this is when he reminds me, you're not living the life that other people have lived before you in that sense, because we're at the end. But if time was to go on, I'm going to die about the time my father died. You know, if I'm blessed to live 83 years, I got about 20 years left. And so when I see my neighbors, I'm reminded of that. I'm reminded that my father came here when he was my age. And he told me, he said, when I came here, I was a house of fire. I was painting everything. I was doing everything because he was built. This was his dream house, his retirement house that he had built. And it just keeps me humble. It keeps me remembering all of us have a set number of years, brother. And we must understand that. And he said, that's what Moses said, teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. So when I saw my neighbor come over, she was moving real slow. She came here and she was telling me about when she first came and how she built her house. And all of these people that are here were so excited because everybody was pretty much in the same thing. They were retiring from someplace and they had saved their money and this was going to be their dream home and their retirement home. But brethren, the years go by very, very quickly. You know, the years go by very quickly, quicker than most people understand. And we should understand that ourselves. The years go by fast. And when we're talking about 8 years left of this system, that's nothing, you know. But I'm not pompous enough to think that my life is just gonna go on if I know I'm gonna die. But it's okay. Because, and then the Father reminds me, under normal circumstances, yeah, but this ain't normal circumstances. And that's what it reminds me. This ain't normal circumstances that we live in. We're not living any normal time. And then it comes to me, this time in history is unlike any other time ever. We're at the end. We're at the point where everything is going to be on the table. We are a generation that's going to actually see the return of the Messiah. We're of the generation that the prophets talked about. We're the generation that Messiah was saying. We're the generation that the angel Gabriel told Daniel, the children, Michael, the great prince, who stands for the children of thy people. We are the children of Daniel's people. That's what he said. In Daniel chapter 11, it said, he shall set his tabernacle between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, talking about Rome. And then in Daniel 12:1, he said, at that time shall Michael stand up. Michael is the Messiah. And he stands up and he said, the great prince, the Messiah, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Gabriel's talking to Daniel. And I realized we, brethren, we are the children of Daniel's people that Gabriel was talking about. And the time I saw the angel, I told you about the time the angel came to me. And he was he was over 7 feet tall. He was a black man. And he had these dark glasses on, so I couldn't see his eyes. But he had a powder blue, sky blue suit on. And he was staring at me. And I was walking toward him, not knowing who he was at the moment. And he's smiling and he's asking me, he says, how's your wife? And he named my wife. He said, how's your son? And he named my son. At that time, I had one child. He said, how are they doing? How are you? And he knew me. He was letting me know he knew me. And that's why I understand. One of the many instances where I began to understand we're not in any normal time. This is not. Look, think about this, brethren. Was there ever, as far as you know, was there ever a decade like the 1960s? As far as you can read in history and your own experience, has there ever been a decade like the 1960s? Anything like that ever happened? See, the Bible says there's no new thing under the sun, but what we saw in the 1960s, in terms of the revolutionary talk, in terms of the protests, in terms of the drugs, in terms of the urban renewal that turned into a project trap, in terms of everything happening to the true Hebrews in America, there's never. And then following that, the 70s, and then the 80s, yeah, with the crack era, there was nothing like that ever. Why? Because we're living at the end, brethren. We're living at the end. And so what we're seeing now has never been done before. What we're seeing now in terms of the world Babylon system has never been. Prior, when the Bible talks about Babylon, it's talking about an area that's now what we consider what is called by Babylon, the Middle East, right? But at that time, when they were talking about Babylon and ruling the earth, what they're talking about is the Middle East and Europe and Africa, right? Maybe even Asia when you go to the East and India, that's also mentioned. But this now, we're talking about the whole earth, every nation, 150 plus, 160 plus nations. There's nothing like this. We're talking about a system that's worldwide, banking system, worldwide. You can go in the middle of Pacific Islands somewhere, Cook Islands, and you can get a bank that's connected here. There's never been a situation where a man can stand up and bold-faced lie and people cheering. Where there can be religious institutions where little boys are being raped and people still go there. Where people can come rape, kill, and pillage and then declare that it's theirs and they ain't doing anything wrong. This is the age in which we live. And so I'm reminded when I see people like my neighbor, I won't get there because they ain't going to last. Under normal circumstances, I would. Under normal circumstances, I could try my best to take care of myself and eat, but I still got plus or minus 20 years on the outside, right? If I'm able to live till 90, I won't even know my name, maybe, right? But that's on the outside. I might not even make 80. I'm 63. So my time is limited. I'm closer to the grave than I was from when I was born. But brethren, it ain't going to go there. It ain't going to last that long. We are being prepared for just what's ahead of us. Just what's ahead of us. And the truth is, which is now all of you guys are realizing as you're reading your Bible, you're realizing the majority of earth has no idea. Everybody can see something is happening. Everybody can feel something is in the air, right? I mean, even your people that are willfully ignorant know something is in the air. They can't put their finger on it. It's like they're in the dark trying to reach for the light switch and they never find it. They have no idea what's about to hit them. We do know. The Most High has shown us. And we do know, okay? Because the Most High has shown us. And that's the difference between us and the rest of the people on the planet. The presence of the Father is with us. That's what he told Moses. He said, go ahead, my presence will go with you. And Moses said, if your presence don't, in fact, let's look at that. That's Exodus. Chapter 33. Exodus chapter 33. Exodus 33 from verse 13 down to verse 17. Exodus chapter 33 from verse 13 down to verse 17. Now, therefore, I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight. And consider that this nation is thy people. Consider, he asked the Most High, that this nation, Israel, is thy people. That's us, brother. We are the children of Israel. Somebody said, well, I'm not sure. I've been mixed. What does your spirit tell you? Some of us is very clear, right? Because what? How? Because you or your family's been treated like the Bible says Israel would be treated. Is that correct? Most of us know we come from descendants of slaves. Most of us know that. Some of us are questioning it. That's fine. That's let the redeemed of Yahweh say so. But some of y'all, you ain't got to guess. Oh, we've been mixed, yeah. But we know the seed that came through. And he said, verse 14, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not in that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. Brethren, as somebody said, there was Sister Kimberly, once we awaken to who we are, that's the sign. When you awaken to who you really are and you understand now your real history, that's the sign. The awakening is the sign. Okay? It's more than just what you see in the heavens. It's more than what you see the heathen doing. Your awakening is the sign. Because when you awaken to who your God is, and you know it's not white Jesus, and you know it's not Allah, and you know it's not Jehovah, you know who your God is, Yah, of the Most High, of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you awaken to that, now he's back with you. Now you've answered his call. Now he's back with you, and you've answered his call. And now this comes to pass. He said, my presence will go with you. It's the awakening that causes that. It ain't because we're good people. It's because of Yah's promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's because he's merciful to us. Messiah is our righteousness before the Father. Perfection of righteousness and holiness and truth is the Messiah. And because of that, the Father gives us his spirit of righteousness, holiness, and truth. Many people don't even understand what I just said, but y'all do. And that's why he's with us. And this time is not like any other time. Any other time on the face of the planet was micro. This is macro, much bigger, much deeper, much wider. This is where we at. And we're being prepared, and we praise the Most High for waking us up for this. Praise the Most High. Yes. So we're talking about 2 or 3 witnesses, and I want to get right to this. Yesterday we didn't. I changed the title of yesterday because we didn't really talk about what Matthew 18. So I changed the title to yesterday's Bible study to the importance of Bible study, which is what we actually ended up talking about. But today we're going to continue, but we're talking about 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay, so let's go to Matthew chapter 18. Matthew chapter 18. And yesterday we talked about the Son of Man is come, which is verse 11. The Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. And we understand now. And again, I always find it amazing, brothers and sisters, how the Father has given us things that, I'm just focusing on the Father and his word as you are. And, as we're doing that, he's bringing us to higher places that other people just don't see. So I'm no longer surprised when people come up with ignorant stuff. I'm not surprised at it anymore because the Father just has us going on another level, y'all. Like this. Adam sinned against our Heavenly Father. And Adam brought sin on the whole human race. From Adam, the Father chose Seth. And then Seth's lineage goes down to Enoch. And then Enoch's lineage goes down to Methuselah. And Methuselah went to Lamech, and then Lamech to Noah. Noah had triplets, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Father chose Shem. And then from Shem, Father chose Eber, who became the Hebrew. From Eber, the Hebrew came Abraham. And then he changed his name to Abraham because he told him, I'm going to make you a great nation. That's the history. And the nation is a chosen seed, a chosen nation that we just read where Moses said, this nation is your people. And that chosen nation made a covenant with the same Father that Adam, who is Adam's father and Abraham's father. That God, Yah, made a covenant with Abraham's children at Mount Sinai. And then a blood covenant with them that they said, all that Yahweh have said we will do and be obedient. And they lied. They broke the covenant. So now the death sentence was not only on human beings, all human beings, was on his own chosen people. So he had his own son come in the form of a man from the flesh of his chosen people. Let me say that again. He had his son come first through the flesh of his own chosen people. With the Father's Spirit. He was born with the Father's Spirit. The seed, the semen was the Father's Spirit. Let me say that again. The semen of the Messiah is the Father's Spirit. It wasn't no human semen. It was the Father's Spirit was the semen. And it went with the egg of the human, Miriam, and brought forth through the 12 tribes, Messiah, who is the Son of the Father, to be the atonement for the 12 tribes who broke the covenant. And then through the 12 tribes, that is the chosen nation that he promised to Abraham, the whole earth. And we know this. I know it sounds simple, doesn't it? The rest of the earth don't know it. There's no Christian church that understands what I just told you. Did you hear me? There's no Christian church that understands what I just told you. There's no Muslim that understands what I just told you. There's no practicer of Judaism. There's no Ashkenazi Jew that understands what I just told you. And yet I got it from the word. That's how blessed we are. And then there's those that understand what's the Son of God, what's the Son of Man. There are people in the SDA church arguing, what is his nature? Son of Yah is the Messiah. Son of Man is the Messiah. He's the Son of Yah when he talks to us. When he's on our behalf to the Father, he's the Son of Man. He's both. Very simple, isn't it? But you see how confused Babylon is. When he's talking to us, Messiah, he's the Son of the Father. When he turns to the Father on our behalf and he says, I'm speaking for Gary Joseph, he is the Son of Man because Gary Joseph's a man. He's both. The only thing that changes is what his operation is at that time. He's speaking to the Father on our behalf, or is he speaking to us on the Father's behalf? That's the only three. So when he's speaking to us on the Father's behalf, he's the Son of the Most High. When he's speaking to the Father on our behalf, he's the Son of Man. Not complicated, is it? His nature is divine. He did not come with just human nature. He came with human nature combined with divine nature. Why? Because he's the Son of the Father. And why? Because he wants to turn us into humans with divine nature. Not complicated, is it? Where did I get all that from? What school did I go to? I went to this one right here. This is the university I went to right here. These pages. That's it. Did I have to take a SAT test? No. What did I have to do? I had to pray to the Creator and humble myself, say, I don't know nothing. Daddy, I need you to teach me with your spirit. And he did. And he does. And he continues to. That was my entrance exam. My entrance exam wasn't no SAT. My entrance exam wasn't no MCAT. Was no LSAT. My entrance exam was my knees to the Father and asking for his spirit to guide me because I ain't know nothing I wanted to learn in his school. Praise the Most High. All praise and honor and glory to the Father, Yah. So that's where we were, Matthew chapter 18, verse 11. And then we talked about last night the lost sheep. It all goes together, brethren. And this is why I just, again, what most people do not understand is that the Bible is one continuous message. It's not a whole bunch of individual messages on their own islands. People treat the Bible and they break it apart and they try to create their own doctrine off this little section, right? And then they got this other doctrine on this section, right? Whereas you are missing it because the whole Bible is one. In this chapter, is a prime example. This chapter of chapter 18 is one. So we're not going from one subject really to another. We're flowing into the next subject. So like a river flows into the ocean, the river is the river, but when it hits the ocean, it flows in its water. Does that make sense, y'all? We're flowing. There's spring, summer, winter, and fall. We're fall and winter, right? But they flow into one another to make a year. 1 year, right? Even though there's 4 seasons in it, they flow one to another and they make 1 year. There's sunrise and sunset. There's moonrise and moonset, and they each happen, but it makes 1 day. And 1 week, and 1 month, it flows together. So when we look at the word, we have to understand that all the pieces fit together. Nothing from the word. And if we or any man, see, this is the thing, and this is why we say, either you're in or you're out. So, and there's no problem. Just make your decision, right? Because if you in, what you must understand is only a liar contradicts itself. A liar contradicts itself. People that speak the truth don't contradict themselves. Why do I bring that up? Because people will teach the word as if it's contradicting itself. Like the New Testament is new and the Old Testament is Old Testament. The Old Testament is done away with, the New Testament is new, as if they contradict each other. Anybody that's telling you that the New Testament is not inspired is contradicting himself, because you cannot believe the Bible and then just put away part of it. My brother Malcolm X did that. He said, well, we believe the Bible, we just don't believe what the white man put into it. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What part of it is the white man? And who's deciding who put the white man part in there? And I was disappointed. I said, okay, I understand Malcolm didn't know everything. Okay, he's learning like I'm learning. And the Most High has blessed us in these last days with one more than he had, right? So either you take it or you don't. It's like, a woman, right? Sisters. Let's say you're not married and a man comes into your presence, a man comes into your sphere, and the spirit is telling you, or at least you're thinking, this might be my guy, this might be my man, right? And so you're looking, man, is this my man? Is this my man? And so what you're doing, sisters, what you're trying to surmise is this the man for me? Well, let me ask you something. If the man comes and he speaks and everything he says seems honest and true, and you're like, man, I love this guy, I think this might be my guy, but then all of a sudden he starts lying to you. He's contradicting himself. Why did you have to go out of town for business? Well, why was there this woman's underwear in your purse? Why was this woman's underwear in your suitcase? What was this? I saw lipstick. I saw some red stuff on your collar. And he starts contradicting himself. Can you trust that man? Now you're starting to think, man, I don't know if this is the dude. I can't trust him. Why? Because he might be what? Lying to me. Why? Because he's contradicting himself. People don't realize that's what they're saying about the Bible. When they tell you, I only read the first 5 books, then they're telling you the Bible's lying to you. If they're telling you the New Testament is not inspired, they're telling you the Bible's lying to you. What they're really saying is, trust me, don't trust what the Bible says, because the New Testament contradicts itself. It's not inspired. Or the New Testament Christians, Old Testament done away with it. Well, somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. See, I like to be straight. One of the things the Father has taught me in all my foolishness and folly is be straight, man. Come real or don't come. Come correct. You know how we used to say in New York, you better come correct. Isn't that what we used to say in New York? You better come correct. So either you bring it or you don't. Either you in or you out. If you decide you in, then you in. Then therefore, when I decided that this Bible is the truth, then I decided, then what I read is the truth. And if I don't understand it, it's my problem, not the Bible's problem. See? If I don't understand it, is it the Most High's problem or is it my problem? If I can't see how Paul connects with Moses, that's not Moses and Paul's problem. That's my problem. Problem is, most teachers won't humble themselves to come to that conclusion. Instead, they'll say something like, we're New Testament Christians, and the Old Testament is done away with. That's Old Covenant. Or the New Testament is not inspired. Paul is not inspired. Instead of just saying, I don't understand it. And that's why I say to you, don't guess about stuff. Just say what you don't know. There's no problem, brethren. It's better to say, I don't know. I've learned that. It's better to say, I don't know. Because guess what? If I don't know, then I can learn. That's an opportunity to learn, right? If I say, I know, that's why the Messiah said, he ain't come for the righteous. He came for repentant sinners. He ain't come to call the righteous. He said he'll leave the 99 to go get the one that's lost. Because that one knows they're lost. If I say I know, then that's what he told him. He said, you say you know. I came to call the people that know they blind. You say you can see. So what do I need to teach you? And things he has shown you that you do know, guess what? The only reason you know it is by conviction. Things he has shown you that you know for yourself. You keep those things because you got that by conviction. Okay? Praise the Most High. And most people that criticize the King James Version, majority of people, have not read it. They read parts of it and think they know it. I'll never forget my son-in-law. I love my son-in-law. He was the answer to prayer. I was praying for my children. When my children, before each of them reached 8 years old, I was praying for their spouses. Seriously. I was praying for my children's spouses, and now I pray for my grandchildren's spouses. I said, Father, choose the right one for them, because I ain't smart enough to do that. I need you to bring the right one. And I was doing that for my children first, right? And so I was praying. And so here, my daughter, my oldest daughter, comes to me. What you think about Britt? I said, I like Britt. And I knew already, okay. And here's this gangly 6'3", 4" brother. Look always like a little kid. But he takes good care of my daughter. Well, he tried to tell me about the Bible. So I said, son, how long did it take you to? He said, I read the Bible. I said, okay, how long did it take you to start at Genesis and finish at Revelation? And he hesitated. He said, I've never done that, but I know. I said, okay, wait. So you're going to tell me you've never actually read it, but you're going to tell me about it. Pops, I know. I said, listen, man, listen. I'm not going to argue with you. This is my son-in-law. I'm not going to argue with you about the scripture. I said, when you actually read it, we can talk about it. But don't try to argue with me about a book that you've never read. At least read it. And I left it at that. I ain't heard from him about it since. Because he knows. Listen, I'm not going to argue with you about a book you've never read. I'm not going to do it. That don't even make sense. Right? Well, I'm going to argue with you about a book you never read. That's not fair. You understand? And I'm trying to tell y'all, that's how you handle it. Because most of the people that come to you with something to say about the Bible have never read it. Okay? They've never read it. Exactly. See? So there you go. There you go. All right. So then we talked about, we read, that's where we finished right there. That's where we finished right there. Now, faults. If people handle business the way the Bible teaches us to do it, man, we'd solve a whole bunch of problems, right? Okay, Matthew 18, beginning at verse 15. Matthew 18, beginning at verse 15, gives us a principle that, brethren, and let me ask you honestly, how many people do you know that claim to be believers in the Bible follow the principle of 2 or 3 witnesses? How many people do you know that claim to be followed, whether they be Christian or whoever they be, and they follow the principle of 2 or 3 witnesses? Because if we had that, brethren, if people would follow that principle, we would be really farther ahead as a people, wouldn't we? Here, okay, Matthew chapter 18, beginning at verse 15. Going down to verse 18. Actually, I'm going to go down to verse. Yeah, let me first start 15 down to 18. Yeah, Matthew 18, 15 to 18. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. And if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. This is power. So I got a problem with Diamond Holdings. Diamond Holdings has offended me. So what do? I need to come personally to Diamond Holdings and say, brother, I'm offended. And Diamond Holdings said, what I do? And I will say X, Y, and Z, man. I saw you do X, Y, and Z. And you said X, Y, and Z, and this offended me. Diamond Holdings said, man, get out of here. I ain't do nothing to you, man. I ain't say nothing to you. I ain't touch what you say I touch. No. So then I say, okay, brother Gary Joseph, brother Joe Curry, me and Diamond Holdings got a problem. Now, it's not for them to say what the problem is. I need to bring them to brother Diamond Holdings with me, and then we could all discuss the problem. And the 2 other brothers along with me will bear witness, and the brothers could say, brother Raw, nah, that's not right. You're not doing right. Or brother Diamond Holdings, you really owe brother Raw an apology on this thing. So you hope in that scenario between the brethren, right, we can handle it. Now, in Christian churches, it don't work like that. I mean, if you've been in a Christian church, I ain't got to tell you, gossip is stronger than the National Star. Gossip is bigger than the Inquirer in the churches. Am I lying to you or am I not? Is I telling you the truth or not? I mean, the biggest gossip factory on planet Earth is the Christian church. I'm not lying to you. The biggest gossip factory. Matter of fact, the gossip power is so strong in the Christian church that people that need help can't bring their help to their Christian church. Why? Because it'll turn into a fodder for gossip. Am I lying? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay? People that actually need help can't come to people in their church about it. Because it'll become something different. It'll become something new. It'll become a rumor. It'll become all over the whole congregation. And everybody's phone is lit up. That shows you condition, right? Here's the principle, though. You go to the person yourself. And if you and the person can't work it out, if there's some problem, you and that individual, that's between you and that individual, you can't work it out. Then you go and get 2 other brethren, and you don't get them, you don't try to influence their thinking because you want a fair judgment. Does that make sense, y'all? So if you go into court, you don't want the judge influence one way or another against you when you're going to court, right? So you're going to bring 2 or 3 other brethren. He's talking to the Hebrew Israelites. So he's talking to the brethren. He said, go get 2 others and get 2 witnesses and then discuss the problem. If they're willing to be witnesses, now you got 2 or 3 witnesses. And if y'all come to a conclusion, let's say we all come to a conclusion, and now we find this brother, Raw was wrong about this, and really Diamond Holdings didn't owe him anything. That he was wrong about that, and I won't receive that. So now I got Diamond Holdings and the 2 brothers I brought, and they're all saying I'm wrong, right? And I'm saying, nah, then you take it to the church. Now, here's the question, brother. When the Messiah say, take it to the church, talk to me. What is he talking about? Is he saying go to your pastor of your Christian church and tell him the problem after y'all couldn't work it out? Well, he said, take it to the church. As a Hebrew Israelite, understanding your Moses, what did Moses tell them to do? What did they do? What they did is they took it to the elders of the congregation. Isn't that correct? Testing 1, 2, 3. So they would go to the older folks. They go to the older folks of the congregation, and they'd be the judges. In the Bible, it talks about people that sat in the gate. Yes, they take it to the people in the gate, the assembly, the nation. So hopefully, if you got brethren that you say, oh, this brother's older and wise, he's been around, then you take it to the judges, right, Steve? Because there's a whole book called the Book of Judges. Isn't that correct? So you're supposed to take your problem now to the church. That is the judges. That is the older, wiser folks. You take your problem there. So now you get the older heads. Usually they'd be Levites, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. Usually they'd be Levites in the Bible. They'd be the older saints that were the priests or the Levites or the princes of the congregation, somebody that's older and wiser. You take it there. And so now you got your 3 witnesses, plus you got your complainer, and then you take it to the older, wiser folks. And now everybody gets to hear it. Now it's okay. All right. So now what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we all agree Brother Raw is wrong on this. Brother Diamond Holdings was correct on this. And Brother Raw, he don't owe you nothing, man. Now, if I refuse to receive the judgment that has come from the elders, the older brethren, the witnesses that came and they listened, if I refuse to receive that, he said, treat them as a heathen man or as a publican. Now, wait, this is powerful, because when he says treat them as a heathen man or as a publican, what is he really saying? Well, first of all, he's telling you who he's talking to, Hebrew Israelites. He's not talking to heathen, because he said treat them as the heathen. So there's a difference now. He's saying, wait a minute, if they don't hear none of y'all and y'all all talk to him and everybody was trying to help him and he don't want it, he's a heathen. That means don't treat him like a brother no more. He's not like the brothers no more. What did Paul say? I left this man in the hands of Asatan that he might learn not to blaspheme. So now you go on. I'm not saying shun homie, but now you can't trust homie. Am I right? Because he might start some crap about you. You can't trust him no more. He's your brother, maybe in the flesh, but you can't trust him. And listen, is it unusual for us to know that you got some Hebrew Israelites you can't trust? That's not hard for us to understand, right? Yeah, so you got brethren you can't trust. So you got people around you that are liars, right? But look, if you brought 2 witnesses that you trusted, then y'all came and y'all discussed it, and they came out, there was a judgment, and you didn't like the judgment. Okay, so then you go get some older heads. You go get some old folk. You go get some OGs. And you say, OG, I want you to come. We need you to come to discuss. Okay, I'll hear it. You get 2 or 3 OGs. And then you got the 2 or 3 OGs. You got the 2 brothers that you brought. And then you got the brother that you disagree with. And they all come to the same conclusion. And you won't receive it. They saying, okay, you leave this brother alone. Just leave it alone. And now everybody knows whatever that brother is saying, you can't trust it. You can't trust anything he said. That's what he means when he says a heathen and a publican. You can't trust it. Y'all got it? You can't trust it. That's what happens. See? When you in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, in a cloud of witnesses. Now, this principle, of course, we know this principle. And now I want to give you a way. We study this now. Now, I downloaded, I got it on my computer now. It's called eSword. eSword. Let me type it in here. It's called eSword. eSword. Now, eSword is a downloadable concordance of the Bible. Now, it has a bunch of other stuff you don't need, like it's got commentary and all that. I don't worry about that. But it's got the Bible concordance in it. Why is that? And it has KJV plus. That means when it says KJV plus, it has all of the words in Greek and Hebrew right next to the real word in English, right? Then it has 1611 KJV. Then it has, if you want, I downloaded the restored name KJV, RNKJV. It's got a comparison. It's got a parallel, so you can put them next to each other. It's got all of that. So now you have it. Now, this is a good tool for Bible study. So we're talking about witnesses, right? Now, when we talk about witnesses, again, you're talking about different people, right? Like you don't have the same person as two witnesses, right? It's you, then you brought two other individuals, then you went to elders, different elders, you brought some OGs in, right? So now you got different witnesses. No, it's free. Sister Solomon, that's a good question you asked. If they're asking you to pay, that's not what I'm talking about. No, it's free. You just Google eSword, download, you can put it in there. Okay. And then and then it'll ask you what you want. Like it has all the versions of the Bible. I don't, of course, go with all of the versions. I just went KJV, KJV plus, because I want to see the Hebrew and Greek, KJV 1611, because I like to see the 1611. That's how I learned how to say the Most High's name. Then RNKJV, which is the restored name version, that they have that there. And then, of course, the compare and the parallel come with it. So they'll ask if you want NIV. They'll ask if you want New King James. I just didn't choose all of that. I just chose the ones that I got here. So you can choose the versions that you want or don't want. Okay. Now, once you have that, let's talk about. My phone is what do you call it? My phone's not. What is my phone? My phone is Android. I got Android. And I downloaded on the Android. I downloaded. What do I have here? I have this one is not. This is not eSword. I downloaded. This is Bible with Strongs. I downloaded on my Android. This is the one I have here. Bible with Strongs. I downloaded it on my. Is it showing $3.99? See, that's different. See, I did this long time ago, so I don't know. Love Blue, that's when you brought up, but I downloaded this. If you could see it, Bible with Strongs, I downloaded this on my phone from Google Play Store, and it has in it the Bible, and it has in it, see, you put a word in it, it'll give you the word where it shows up. And this is the key thing here. You want to focus on key words when you're doing Bible study. So we're talking about 2 or 3 witnesses, right? Witnesses. So what you do is you focus on the word witnesses. Of course, you could also get, like I have this. This is Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. I paid $20 for this in 1986. Same book. You can see it's taped up. I've had this since 1986. I paid $20 for this in New York City in 1986. I think I bought this on, I think it was 44th Street and 6th Avenue. So it was 1986. I bought this and I've had it since. And so this is the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. It has every word in the Bible in there and where it appears, right? All I just showed you with eSword is the electronic version of something like that. Okay. Yeah. As far as what Joe Curry is saying, look for the free version. In fact, type that free version. Pick free. Thank you, Joe Curry. That's exactly right. Y'all see what he said right there? So you see that, Brother Love Blue? He said pick free version. Always look for the free version. That's a good idea. That way yeah. Don't let them. If you don't have to pay, don't pay. That's what I always say. Like there's always these dudes that be writing stuff about the Knicks and they want you to pay for their subscriptions, and I'd be like, I can pay. This is the information age. What do I need to pay? I said, you ain't that good that I want to read your stuff that I got to pay for. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Yeah. So look for free. Now, let's say we're talking about witnesses. So I put the word witnesses in a search, right? And then I click on, and now you can look at it for the Old Testament, the New Testament. I just click on the word Bible, and I'm looking KJV for witnesses. And now what comes up? So I got now 119 verses, 135 matches came up with the word witness. Now listen to me now. This is how you are trying to find, and I'm using the principle itself to show you. So when you're looking up, you like again, sister came to me, she was saying she was trying to study Ezekiel 38. Read the whole thing, look at key words, look them up, and then compare scriptures. Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all got me on that? Sister Azariah, y'all say I'm frozen. Y'all got me? Sister Azariah, are you still frozen? Everybody got me? Okay, so you're looking up key words. And of course, let me back up for a second. Before you even open your Bible, pray to your Father and ask him to guide you in his word. Okay, sister. Ask him to guide you in his word. Before you even open your Bible, ask him, Father Yah, guide me, lead me and guide me in thy holy or your holy word. And I always ask him, I say, lead me and guide me in your holy word. Send your spirit and open my mind that I may understand what I read, and give me your grace that I may be obedient. That's my prayer. I say, give me your grace that I may be obedient. Open my mind that I may understand. See, you asking him for understanding. You must assume it's him that gives you the understanding. The Bible says, get wisdom. It is the principal thing. With all thy getting, get understanding. So what are you looking for when you're reading the Bible? If you're doing it for a science project, you're not going to ask the Father, right? If you're doing it because you want to prove your point, because you want to be more important, you're not going to ask the Father. But if you want the glory of the Father in your eyes, is that what you're doing? You want his glory? You want to be obedient for his glory and honor? Ask him, guide me in your word by your spirit. And you go through the word. Now you're looking up witness. Okay. And so I see there's 135 instances of witness. Okay. Now I need to find, okay, I'm looking for where it said 2 or 3 witnesses. And here I keep going, and then I find Deuteronomy 19:15. It says, one witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity. That's Deuteronomy 19:15. For any sin or any sin that sinneth, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. And now I have the Messiah just said it in Matthew chapter 18, and he said it here in verse 16. And then I got a second one from Moses, and he says it in Deuteronomy 19 verse 15. See, now I got 2 that give me this precept. Now I'm still looking, because you remember you got to get 2 or 3, right? So you're still looking, and you're saying, okay, and there's a lot of witnesses. So it's not like you just, but I happen to know where it is, but I'm assuming I'm like you. Maybe you've never done this before. So you're looking and you're saying, well, where else does it talk about 2 or 3 witnesses? So I'm looking, and I got Matthew. I know that one. I got Deuteronomy. So I got Moses, and I got Matthew and Messiah. So what else do I find? I'm going here, and I'm looking, and I see Paul. Paul says it. Paul also says it in, where does he say it? It's, where is he? It is, Paul says it in 2 Corinthians 13 verse 1. This is the 3rd time I'm coming to you. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. Right? So now I got Messiah in Matthew. I have Moses, and I have Paul. And they're all saying the same thing. Here, again, Paul says it again. It's the same witness, Paul, but he says it again here when he's writing to Timothy. He says in 1 Timothy 5:19, against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses. So now I got Paul, I got Moses, and I have Messiah. Or I can say I got Paul, Moses, and Matthew. So now I have 3 witnesses. Does that make sense, y'all? So if I would have just went with Paul's 2 writings, 1 to Timothy and 1 to Corinthians, well, that's not 2 or 3 witnesses. That's the same God giving witness multiple times. right? That's the same God giving witness multiple times. That's not 2 or 3 witnesses. So we need 2 or 3 different people. So whenever you have a doctrine that you're trying to establish or you're trying to see if it's true, what you need first is 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay? Okay? So now, what about witnesses about Israel's scattered state? Let me say, where in the Bible does it say that Israel is going to be scattered? Well, I want 2 or 3 witnesses to prove that I'm saying that there's a doctrine, it's a Bible doctrine that Israel is going to be scattered. So what do? I go to concordance and I look up scattered, right? Or I look up, and sometimes you got to be careful because sometimes I can't find it because I've misspelled the word, right? so I look up scatter first. I look up scatter. And then and I see again, there's 38 verses that have the word scatter in it. And verse 4, Deuteronomy 4:27, Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen. Okay, so there is Moses. Moses is a witness. So now I need more witnesses. This Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 8. Remember, I beseech thee the word that I commanded thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. That now I have Nehemiah and I have Moses. I have 2 witnesses. Wait, here it is. Let's see. Let me see. I got David. Verse Psalm 106:27, to overthrow their seed also among the nations and to scatter them in the lands. David now is a witness. I have 3 witnesses. Jeremiah, let's see. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 16. I will scatter them also among the heathen, and neither will they nor their fathers have known. And I will send the sword after them, and I will consume them. That's Jeremiah. That's now what I have. 4 witnesses. So, and the more witnesses you have, right, the stronger your case. Isn't that correct? The more witnesses you have, the stronger your case. So wait a minute. Let's keep looking. Maybe Ezekiel. Ezekiel 22:15, and I will scatter thee among the heathen and disperse thee in the countries and will consume thy filthiness out of thee. Ezekiel is now a 5th witness, and I could keep going. Y'all know Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea. And then that's just the word scatter. If I said scattered, like with ED, I'd find more witnesses. If I said, there's another word, let me see, dispersed. If I said dispersed, right? A similar word. If I said dispersed, I find more witnesses. Y'all catching me? So you get into a scripture and you're saying, where else is this like a prophecy? You want to know? Find out where else is being said. Do you have more than one witness to say that? Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you following me? Okay. Y'all got me so far? All right. Now, and this is how you try to do it with every Bible doctrine. Everyone, that's how you come up with doctrines. So when somebody comes at you and says, this is what this means, okay, we're in the Bible to say, and they'll usually give you one verse somewhere. And you say, can you give me 2 or 3 other witnesses? And that's where you'll stump them because they usually don't have that. They'll tell you something and they don't have witnesses. Testing 1, 2, 3, you catching me? And you say, well, where are your 2 or 3 witnesses? And if it's strong, look, we just went through the word scatter, right? And we got 5 witnesses, 5 different witnesses to that the Israelites are going to be scattered. 5 different witnesses scattered upon the earth. Okay. So there you go. There you go. That will be among the heathen. 5 different witnesses. Okay. Or we were going to be after the manner of Egypt enslaved, right? Moses says that. Zephaniah says that. Zechariah says that. You see, you keep going. Now, let me ask you another question. Brother said the other day, I don't see no New Testament. Well, he said somebody told him, not him, but he said somebody told him. I don't see no Old Testament references to Jesus Christ. I'm going to give you one question. I'm going to ask you one question, okay? I'm going to ask you one question. Ready? Tell me, in the book of Leviticus, where do you see the Messiah? In the book of Leviticus, where do you see the Messiah? Messiah is all in Leviticus. Most people don't even know that, especially Christians. They don't know that. Where's Messiah in Leviticus? That's right. That's right. He is the sacrifice. How do you know that? Because the Bible tells you in John, he's the Lamb of Yah that takes away the sin of the world, right? Doesn't tell you that. He's the Lamb. And then Paul says, Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. There's two witnesses. And then, of course, you have Leviticus itself. The lambs are being sacrificed. There you go. Right? Three witnesses right there. Then, of course, we can go to Isaiah. He was as a lamb brought to the slaughter. See? You see how it is? And the more you read your Bible, the more familiar you become with these things. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I saw that in another place. And then if you're not sure, see, I challenge myself, and y'all have seen me do it. I could look in the concordance and find something in a second. But I say, no, where I saw it here. And I like to search for it. And I'll challenge myself. Where did I see it? And I'll spend more time. Y'all see me. And I could just go ahead in the concordance and look at the word and find. But I know I seen it somewhere, and I want to know where I seen it, and I want to remember where I saw it. Does that make sense, y'all? So now you were like, where did I see that? And you search it. And you search it. Now, if you need to, go back to your concordance and you find it, right? You could always find it there. And sometimes, though, and I've thought I saw something in the Bible that wasn't in there. And I searched and I looked for keywords. And I realized, wait, I don't know where I got that from, but I didn't get it from the Bible. And I said, okay, that's it. That happens. Okay? Sometimes I might have read it in Ellen White, or I might have read it, in a apocrypha or something. And I said, I got to find it in 66 books of the KJV. There you go. That's right, Mark. Well, see, that's right. There's Genesis 22. That's right. But see, Genesis is not a new witness to Leviticus, right, Brother Mark? Genesis is the same witness as Leviticus. Isn't that correct? But you're seeing references to the Messiah. And that's why I told the brother, in all of the books of Moses, there's a reference to the Messiah in every book. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, there's a reference to the Messiah. He said there's no biblical references. So I said, well, there's references. Well, we're talking about witnesses as well as references, right? So you can find them both. When you're looking for references to something, that means you're saying, where does it reference this? All 5 books of Moses references Messiah. All 5. In different places. When he called the prophet, he's saying the angel that I'm sending with you. He's saying the sacrifice, the trumpet sound that they heard in chapter 19 that was so loud, Moses asked for it to quiet down. Okay. Cannibalism is in the Bible. He says, I'm going to have you eat your children's flesh. I'm going to have you eat defiled bread. He says that in Ezekiel. He says that in Moses. And then when who was king? I think there was a Israelite king, and they were starving, and the woman came to him and said, one of us, we ate her son last night. We ate my son last night. We're supposed to eat her son tonight. And the king was sad when he heard that, right? Because that's how starving they were. They ate each other's children. But again, there's references to everything in the scripture. So Brother Joe Kerr said he's a vegetarian. Well, some people, let me ask you, does the Bible talk of vegetarianism? It does. I'm going to tell you up front, it does. But where does it talk of vegetarianism? The Bible does talk of vegetarianism. Where? Where does it talk about vegetarianism? It does talk about vegetarian. It won't use the word vegetarian, but when you read it, you'll understand. That's right. That's right. Genesis chapter 1. Isn't that right, Sister Kimberly? Genesis chapter 1. What does it say? I have given you. Wait, let's look at it. And in Daniel, that's right, Daniel 2. I know y'all think I'm silly, but I get really excited when I see brethren learning the word. See if Brother Don Hahn just came out with Daniel just like that. They're gone, man. They're gone, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Shoot, that's what I'm talking about. There go. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. He just came up with a second witness just like that. Praise the Most High. Also, We can go Romans chapter 14 for your third witness. There's Paul. He said, if eating flesh make my brother offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth. That's what he said. Okay, so wait a minute. The original diet given to mankind from the Creator is Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. This is the original diet given to mankind. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And the Most High said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So fruits or food that come out of the earth, that come generally from a tree, but not always, but they yield seed in themselves. This is what he gave us to eat. So that, for example, originally, when you have collard greens or you have spinach, there's no seed in it. That wasn't part of the original diet of man. Fruit was the original diet. But do we understand that he added to the diet? Yes, he did. In Genesis, after they sinned, he added to the diet, right? What did he do after they sinned? He said, let's see now. And this is Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to read from verse 17 down to verse 19. Genesis chapter 3 from verse 17 and 19. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So now he added the herb of the field to man's diet. Why? Because now man was going to get sick. And herbs help sickness. I mean, am I making that up, or do we find that to be true? Herbs help sickness. There are people that specialize. I'm not one, but there are people that, I think, sister, listen to your body. She specializes in herbs. She knows what herbs to use for what sickness. Herbs help sickness. So he knew that sickness was coming. So he said, okay, I'm giving you the herb also. Now, then we know later he added to the diet for the nation and gave the nation what we know to be today, protein. Didn't he? This is Deuteronomy. And all this is the same witness of Moses, but this is a precept, this is a judgment precept that he's given to Israel. And then, of course, in Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2 and 3, for thou, he says to Israel, art a holy people unto Yahweh thy most high. Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself. Above all the nations that are upon the earth, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. And then verse 4, these are the beasts which ye shall eat. And he starts off the ox, the sheep, and the goat, and he goes into deer, and he tells you about birds, and he tells you about fish, and he tells you what you can eat, what's clean for you to eat among the animal kingdom. And he tells you also, do not eat their blood. Which is why when the Gentiles were coming into the truth of the Hebrews, and that's what they were doing, Gentiles were told, the thing you got to make sure you do first is you don't eat animals that have been strangled, and you don't eat blood. That's what they were told, because the heathen eat blood. He said, the life of the flesh is in the blood. You do not eat the blood. Drain the blood, then you eat the meat. Y'all got me? Testing 1, 2, 3. See, so these are how you find out stuff. This is where we get all of the stuff we get from. Okay, this is how we learn. Especially we're learning from the scriptures. Okay, no, you're right, Sister Kimberly. I believe that the eating of blood causes problems. That's why the Most High would not give us these precepts if it wasn't good for us. So when he tells us don't eat blood, there's a reason for it. Now, people want to find out what the reason is. Well, Yeah, the Bible tells you don't eat the liver. What does he tell you? Eat the breast, eat the shoulders, and he says the inwards you burn. See, he said that in Deuteronomy. He said all the inwards, the liver, the gall, he said you burn all that. Why do you think the heathen gave us pig to eat? Not just pig. He gave us chitlins to eat. Why did he give us chitlins? Because the Bible says in Ezekiel, you're going to eat the foul bread in your enemy's land. So he gave us the inward part, which we wouldn't have ate even of a clean animal. We wouldn't eat the inward part of a clean animal. We would eat the shoulder, the breast. We would eat the thigh. We would eat all of that of the clean animal, not the intestines or the liver or the heart. We wouldn't eat all of that. You understand? But see, that's the thing though. Diamond holders, you're right. It tastes nasty to me too. But even if it tastes good, like bacon, I don't know nobody that ain't taste bacon and ain't like it. Even if it tastes good, the principle is don't eat that. You understand? Don't eat that. Yeah, but my point is there's some people that say, man, or how about this one? Shrimp. Don't tell me y'all ain't like that shrimp fried rice. Right? And you know them people that make that shrimp fried rice ain't clean, and they ain't making it clean, and shrimp ain't clean, but dag, it tastes good. See, so sometimes it's not, we have learned to base what we like on our taste, which is fine, because the Most High gave us taste buds, right? But he has given us foods that we should eat and foods that we shouldn't eat. Now, listen, I'm not trying to push this down your throat. Don't get me wrong. You eat according to your conviction in the word. That's all I'm saying. And if you're not there, that's no problem either. You just tell the Most High, damn, Most High, I'm so used to having that shrimp every Thursday when I get, I'm so used to having it, man. This is hard. I need your help. You know, he understands that. We've been raised in the heathen's land. We've been raising our heathen in the heathen's land. We're raising our enemy's land. So we have been taught to eat things that the Most High didn't teach us to eat, right? We've been taught that. So now we're learning. Praise the Most High. Again, if you were eating shrimp and you stopped eating shrimp, right? The reason you stopped is what? By the Spirit of the Father and conviction. Y'all got me? So don't measure your progress and what you're eating by somebody else. If somebody's a vegetarian and you're not, that don't mean nothing. That you are where you're supposed to be. Testing, y'all catching me. Don't worry about that. You go according to your conviction. You're reading something and you say, man, you know, I just learned this. I shouldn't be eating that. Okay, that's just the seed that was planted. You'll get it eventually. And don't push where you at on somebody else. When I was a vegan, I learned that I'm vegan. I didn't push that on nobody. And when I started eating meat again, I didn't say you all need to eat meat. I ain't push that on nobody. That's between me and the Most High as I'm convicted. I wanted to make sure it was clean meat. I wanted to make sure I did it right. And to this day, my wife and I will soak, when we get ready to make some meat, we'll soak it and then we'll clean it and then we'll cook it up. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll cook it up, make sure. And then when I have a steak, I make sure it's well done. Well done. How you like your steak? Well done. Give me that ribeye. Well done. And they bring it back and it don't look well done. I said, could you take it back and cook it, please? See? So that's how you do it, Brett. But that's where I'm at. And now, I'm feeling really good. I'm eating a lot of fruit. I'm eating fruit. And the other day I was telling my wife I used to eat fruit. And then I got caught up in being a fruitarian. I got caught up, and I say caught up. Then I started following what people told me were the rules of being fruitarian. And I tried my best for 4 years to follow that. And it wasn't right. You know why it wasn't right? Because it came from man. It came from man. So now I find I've learned, and for myself, I'm eating fruit every day. Some days all I eat is fruit, but I also add some fat to it. Like I have my coffee. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but in my coffee, I make coffee in the morning. I don't put no sugar in my coffee. I put butter in my coffee. I let the coffee come down in that pot with butter in it, and then I throw some MCT oil and some salt in it, and then I drink that, and I get my healthy fat for the day. Then I have fruit. Usually, like afternoon, I'll have me some fruit, whatever fruit I feel like eating. And then later on, like today, we're going to have some chicken wing. My wife and I bought some organic chicken wings. She done soaked it. She done got it in there seasoned and ready to go. I'm going to have that later. Yeah. But, you know, yesterday I had in the evening, I had bananas, watermelon, had whatever I feel like, but I just had fruit yesterday. But every day I'm going to eat fruit. Every day. And I praise the Most High because I feel so good being able. And then that's what I told my wife. I was eating fruit one day this week, and I just had a taste for some chicken. And I said, man, I want some chicken. I didn't want her to have to cook it. So I went down to the supermarket and I got me a chicken. And I said, I'm having some chicken there. That's what I love about this, man. I can eat some fruit. And then when I feel to, give me some chicken. And I got my chicken. See? And I was happy. And I felt good. See? So you got to go according to your experience. When the Most High Spirit shows you something, that's how you do it. Yeah, they call it bulletproof cover, but I don't want to step further. I started with that, but I want to step further. I got like the Starbucks thing. I done bought this, and I put the butter inside the pot, let that cook. Let that melt in there. Then I take some MCT oil and I take some heavy whipping cream or heavy cream, depending where I'm at, and I throw some salt in there for the electrolytes. Then I throw the coffee when it's in there and shake that up, and that's the first thing I have in the morning. That'll last me. Shoot, I had that this morning. I'm not hungry. I won't be hungry for a while. It holds me for a while. Between the caffeine from the coffee and the fat and everything, it holds me for a while. It's good for me, and I'm realizing I'm getting a balance of everything that I need. For me. Well, Joe Curry said he thought Hebrews were not supposed to use caffeine. Can you give me 2 or 3 witnesses for that precept? See what I'm saying, Brother Joe Curry? Where's your 2 or 3 witnesses to tell you that? I use Himalayan salt. I get this pink salt from Costco. We've been using Himalayan salt. It's a pink salt. I don't worry about the caffeine. I like how I feel when I drink my coffee in the morning. My father used to say, why are you drinking that coffee for, boy? What you doing? My father didn't like to drink coffee. I said, Pop, I like the coffee. I like the coffee. Yeah, listen to your body is here. Yeah, she said, listen to your body. There you go. See? So this is the thing. And Joe Curry brought up a good point. Joe Curry, you bring up a good point. I don't know if you realize how important that point is he just brought up. MCT oil is the oil from the coconut. So they extract the oil from the coconut and it's MCT oil. So when you got coconut oil that has the whole coconut melted, but then you have MCT. I have both MCT oil and coconut, just straight, the whole coconut. If I run out of MCT oil, I'll just use the whole coconut. Yeah. But Joe Curry brought up a good point. What he said was he thought Hebrews didn't use caffeine. That's what he said. And I said, where's the 2 or 3 witnesses? But this is the thing. Even if it were true, if what he said were true, and we read somewhere and it said, you're not supposed to have caffeine. What does that mean? That means, okay, I'm not supposed to have it, but I like it. So let me have the Father guide me in how I remove caffeine from my diet. Does that make sense? So we're not supposed to eat pork. That's plain, right? Do not eat the swine. But if you're used to eating swine, if in your ignorance you've been eating swine and you didn't know and you're really addicted to it, your mama gave it to you every morning, you got to pray. And over time, when the Most High brings you to power, you will leave it alone. When he brings you to power. Okay? It's not for me to tell you to stop eating it today. That's righteousness by works. Righteousness by faith is, I know now I'm wrong. I admit I'm wrong. Father, I need your spirit. And he will guide you and cause you to get victory. Okay? But it doesn't happen like today because I said so. You see? That's the difference, right? Y'all find? Y'all see that? That's the difference. Okay? Yeah. Like when they have anything that's in a hot dog form, I like hot dogs, but you got to be careful because they use casein and casein has pork, right? So I read the labels and I found an organic beef hot dog and it says no casein. It'll tell you that. So yeah, Brother Diamond Home, if you're trying to avoid pork, yes, they do slip it in to beef and turkey stuff. They do slip it in there. You got to read the, when you get to that point where you at that level, you could read the label and catch it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they do slip it in there, but you got to be careful with that. Yeah, but I found, man, where I could find that, where I could get it with no casein. You do got to read. And sometimes they put sugar. I was surprised at that. They put sugar in meat. I was surprised at that. And then I realized that almost every meat you get, like when I went to the store and get the Publix chicken, I know they got sugar on it. I know they do. But I'll make an exception and I say, oh, once in a while ain't going to kill me. But they put sugar in almost everything, man. Anything that's made that they're selling you got sugar in it. French fries got sugar in it. I was like, man. See? So, brethren, the key point is, though, in the mouth of what? 2 or 3 witnesses. You look up precepts in the concordance. You study the word, and the Most High Spirit will lead you to places that you read already, and you go back there and you look at it. See, so that's how you study the Bible. That's the key thing here we're trying to get. We go into all kind of things, but that's what you're really looking at. How do you study the word? You read through the word. You pray to your Father. Ask him for his spirit. You read through the word. You look for 2 or 3 witnesses of what you're studying for a doctrine. And if somebody presents a doctrine, look for 2 or 3 witnesses. Otherwise, you don't have a doctrine without 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay? You don't have a doctrine without 2 or 3 witnesses. All right? Praise the Most High. Okay. We'll continue this later. So now it's 12 o'clock. Probably come back at 1:30, something like that. But until then, may the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, family.